rotation of it. Yeah. Yeah, come on, finish.
Okay.
Come on. Here we go.
One.
All right, while Justin's doing his set, just want to make a point clear. You're gonna leave it to one. This, you want to stay in external rotation, so supinate your hand on this, so your palm is facing your face. And then the limit to how far you go up into this isn't as far as you can get your arm to go. It's as far as you can go without the hand starting to turn. You want this to stay just like this, pointed towards your face, so that you're not allowing it to turn out and internally rotating as you're going up. So as you leave this spot and it starts to internally rotate, your elbow wants to go away from this line that works for your lat very well. Start to internally rotate, your elbow tracks like this. Now, you're not aligning to your lat at all. Just getting more range of motion for the sake of it isn't helping you if you now miss the whole target of the exercise because of it. The 25 is on the bottom. Don't try it at home, kids. Well, I don't typically warm up too much on a movement like this because I'm pretty well patterned on it and I kind of know what my tolerances are. And because of the limitations of the machine relative to what my strength is really at base for a pattern like this, just a row, more of an upper back type, being that my bent over row is so much more than anything that this machine could handle, I don't really have to warm up too much for this. It's more about really limiting how fast I move through the ranges of motion on this so I can take advantage of what this gives me opposed to what another movement like a bench over row would, where it mechanically doesn't line up perfectly. So this is a little bit more accurate and it takes a little bit less of the systemic total from me. So I can recover pretty easily from sessions like this. I don't have to do a ton of extra volume and warming up for things specifically that are set up this way. Come on. Didn't say it wasn't going to be hard. 3, 2, 1, easy. Come on. Yeah. gonna give you guys a tip on this. And every chest supported row that you're gonna do, big complaint I always hear is that you just can't breathe. Kind of gonna be part of the territory to a degree, but it doesn't have to be necessarily at all times. Part of it's how you're gonna set up. So if you're gonna set up on a chest support, what you don't wanna do is just relax and drink your way into it and just grab and pull. Because then you're guaranteeing the fact that you are gonna collapse around this. The load that's in your hands is just going to pull everything forward into it, and that includes your rib cage, and you have nothing to resist from. So if you wanna resist that, you're gonna have to purposefully set up your rib cage. And how do you do that on every other big movement? You brace. You create an abdominal brace and lock your spine in place so that you can allow movement around your rib cage while everything that holds your rib cage and your spine in place stays in one spot. Okay? So everything from about here, mid rib cage, just below your pecs, and down needs to stay stationary. Above here, there's a little bit of wiggle room that can move. As you saw in the sets that came before this, T-spine does round a little bit as the shoulder blades come forward. For you to get the most out of these upper back muscles we're training on this, you're gonna want that little bit of T-spine flexion and extension to happen. So you don't need to restrict that out of happening. But when you set up, you wanna set up here, get into the extreme of the range of motion in the bottom, and then you take in a big breath. And then what you don't see is as I pull up, I tuck my hips under me a little bit, slight posterior tilt, and then I use my abs to draw my rib cage down. Big air in, rib cage down, slight contraction like a quarter crunch at the abs. If you can keep that quarter crunch while already being set up to allow air to come in and out, because the first thing you did was big air, quarter crunch, lock in. Now you have the ability to breathe in and out the way you would like to, but you're already set up in a position where you can lock your rib cage and your pelvis in one organization. And now as you move through the row, this down stays exactly where it is. So you have the ability to breathe down into your diaphragm the way that you should be, so you can get air in. You won't be able to breathe up through your chest, so if you're a chest breather, you do that when you breathe, you're not gonna have any better time. But if you set up so you can breathe down into your diaphragm, breathe here, so your chest isn't rising and falling, you'll be able to breathe on this and you won't have that annoying sternum pain. So we set up like this, using this machine, not having the chest against the pad. Specific reason here. In between sets, I'll give the explanation. So if I were to set up like this, try to hold myself in here with this pin, uneven load distribution using only one arm, the weight's gonna try and pull me this way. It can try and drag me around, even if I try to resist it by like pulling into this, trying to wrap myself into it. Unavoidable. I'm gonna start to roll into it this way as the weight tries to pull me. So to get away from that, we need to set up a way for us to resist this force vector of this handle trying to pull that way. Pulling myself in here, or trying to wrap myself in here, that's not the same direction that this is pulling on me. So you want to align your primary brace in the same direction that is trying to pull you. So, hand here against this. so I can put pressure forward into this, while this is trying to pull me this way. Direct opposition. Direct opposition is going to be your best strategy for bracing into every single movement to get the most out of it. If you're getting pulled into extraneous directions because you don't have control over where this is trying to pull you into, you're at the mercy of the machine, and that doesn't do you any good. You need to be in control.
Extraneous is an SAT word.
Yeah. Another note, I stagger my feet so that the same side that's pulling is forward. I draw my legs into each other into this pad so I have another anchor to where I am in space. You're good. I slightly turn over the side of the working side, crunch the oblique just slightly so I can hold my rib cage position, then otherwise keep everything tall. This opposite shoulder, a little bit internally rotated, and I'm using this pressure to actively push myself back so I can expand the rib cage posteriorly. And then pull. Here we go. So those are upper pull downs. Formerly I'd call it Terry's pull down, but I'm definitely using more than Terry's on that only. Part of the goal is full transit of the scaps up into protraction and elevation, then into depression and retraction while moving, and aligning the path in a way that the elbow travels not here to hit a lat pull down motion, but starting from a neutral position like you would on a lat pull down, but allowing the elbow to track where it needs to in relativity to where the scap is trying to move. Scap trying to move forward and up in this diagonal arc as you're getting into the eccentric, down and together into the bottom in this same diagonal path as you come down. You can't really have that happen effectively going from here. You can if it's here. Here's where we'll split off. So Justin is gonna go and do some deadlifting. I'm not doing deadlifting because my recovery situation, because I'm now in prep by a little bit of a distance, I'm not gonna be able to tolerate doing a hip hinge on a pull day while having a squat in both leg sessions for the week. And hamstrings are pretty dominant on me, so I'm not super overly concerned with it right now. So he's gonna split off and go do that. I'm gonna do some lat pullovers and some fluffy stuff. right, guys, so that's it on this pull session. On another pull session recording to come, you'll see the second half of the session, where today you just got to see the major pulling movements that get done. But what you don't see, and what you haven't seen yet on the channel, is all the smaller accessory stuff that gets done on all the other body parts that aren't necessarily part of the pull session. That covers all the other things that I need to piece together for both mine and Jacoby's physiques, so we continue to make strides forward and not get caught in the same traps of underdeveloping the same muscle groups that most on a push-pull legs type of a split end up missing in the long term. So that will be a video to come later on, but that is it for this session. If you like the video, like the video. If you like the video, share the video. If you like the video, subscribe to the video, or to the channel, so that you can come and see more later on. Thank you guys, see you in the next one.